In Washington, a president in the political fight of his life.
We will be stronger if we take action together as one nation.
In Damascus, another president in the fight of his life.
Kerry didn't even present any evidence. He thought we have evidence, and he didn't present anything.
Nearly 3 weeks, 20 days after the chemical attack in Syria, a war of words for the hearts and minds of the world.
The Assad regime's inhuman use of weapons of mass destruction against innocent men, women, and children
unleashed hellish chaos and terror on a massive scale.
And if we don't stand up to it, we'll face it more, and they will think they can intimidate anybody.
Everything is possible in terms of retaliation.
Will there be attacks against American bases in the Middle East if there's an airstrike?
You should expect everything. You should expect everything.
Overnight, flash flooding in Boulder, Colorado.
The sirens have just sounded again in Boulder.
As growing floods have cut off almost every road to this city of nearly 100,000 people.
Flash flooding is imminent.
A dam breach causing a sudden surge of water, mud, and debris to rip through this residential town. The owner of this home frantically signaling for help. In Commerce City, thousands of people told to evacuate immediately as life-threatening rains overpowered yet another dam.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Wow, we felt that.
This morning, hundreds of residents in the remote town of Lyons are trapped on the wrong side of a raging river.
If the water comes over this bridge, this town is gone.
It may be days before they're rescued. In the meantime, they're dealing with no sewage and no running water.
That's the bank of the river there, and all these houses underwater.
Swallowing neighborhoods whole. Flash flooding in central and southern Missouri, shutting down Highway 44, dismantling roads from beneath. The floodgates erupting on the Osage River. The relentless rains leaving campgrounds and soccer fields hardly identifiable. In Waynesville, Missouri, they're still searching for a woman swept away Tuesday. Her 4-year-old son already found dead. In the last 7 days, parts of Missouri have had more than 15 inches of rain. The town of Richland with at least 17 inches.
Well, there are new warnings, Jenna, from the CDC of a deadly new virus originating in the Middle East. So far, the CDC confirms 14 cases with 8 deaths worldwide. Think of that. That's more than 50%.
This is NCOV, and the World Health Organization is monitoring it closely, especially now that human-to-human transmission has been verified between patients and from a patient to healthcare workers. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control, this is where the virus was first detected in April 2012, Saudi Arabia. Then it spread to other countries in the Middle East, including Qatar and Jordan. Now, by February of this year, travelers to the Middle East had brought the virus to Europe. France, Germany, and the UK all reported mostly isolated cases. Now, There have been at least 40 confirmed cases, and 20 of those patients have died. The largest cluster is in Saudi Arabia.
This tornado spotted near Dix, Nebraska, just part of a weather juggernaut today pounding the plains and Midwest. In Minnesota, 60-mile-an-hour winds flipped big rigs and were powerful enough to destroy a trailer in South Dakota, killing a woman inside. In Boscobel, Wisconsin, 8 inches of rain flooded half the town. And today, as wildfires continue ravaging the West, there's not enough rain. Thousands of firefighters plus a fleet of aircraft are adding to the growing cost of weather disasters. In 1980, $58 billion. By last year, extreme weather and climate costs nearly doubled to $110 billion. 377 people were killed. Hurricane Sandy's tab, $65 billion. Drought and heat waves, another $30 billion. Scientists say human-caused climate change is already helping shift the planet's natural balance, creating more heat waves, drought, and intense downpours. Whoa! A stormy and expensive reality that's already on our doorsteps.
Many fishermen stop at the Busy Bee here in Cumberland City, but this week the gas station was busy with customers complaining about the hundreds of fish floating on a nearby pond surface. EC says the water levels were measured and there was no oxygen in the pond at 0.01 parts per million, a natural cause called oxygen depletion, not a toxic spill.
California wildfire threatening Yosemite National Park, and new concerns this morning about the heavy smoke and dangers for the San Francisco water supply.
An all-out war against this fire has so far kept communities largely safe from these massive flames, but those same people have been drenched in unhealthy smoke for a week now. The first few days of school canceled, what some are calling smoke days. NASA is flying a research plane over the fires to collect air samples, a smoke plume so huge it can be seen from space. There is now fear that what can be seen in the air may also be sneaking into the water. Public utility workers in San Francisco are monitoring the city's water supply around the clock, worried it will be polluted by ash because most of San Francisco's water comes from this reservoir near the fire.
Fire on the Jersey Shore, blocks of that iconic boardwalk destroyed, buildings gutted in an area that just recovered from Hurricane Sandy.
Overnight, the flames still blazing out of control. The fire started at a custard shop, destroying the very same boardwalk ravaged by Superstorm Sandy last year.
This is a knockout punch. This is devastating.
The collapsed roller coaster nearby had become a lasting image of the destruction. The 20 to 30 mile per hour winds pushing the fire north, burning 6 blocks wide until firefighters created what's called a fire break, removing part of the boardwalk to contain the fire. And it was the perfect storm for a fire to burn out of control. And water supply issues. Fire crews had to pump water from the bay. This area still reeling with water problems after Sandy. And the heat was so intense that firefighters were cooling off in that same bay. All that's left, devastation in an area all too familiar with it.
Government health officials say heat waves are the deadliest extreme weather event.
A major new study finds a clear link between rising temperatures and aggression, from domestic violence to murder and even war.
And we find, or the scientists found, that as soon as you move off of the average of either temperature or rainfall by a certain amount, you get an uptick in small-scale violence of one-on-one or little bar brawls of 4%, and you get large-scale violence increasing 14%, and that's where you're talking about governments collapsing and large-scale riots.